So I'm not exactly sure how to say the name of this film, but I'm gonna say it's Tumbbad. I don't know. It's an Indian flick. It was one of the films from 2018 that I was really trying to see when I was burning through all the 2018 films, but it was available nowhere. Not for rent, not for sale, not for nothing. I'm sure you could have torrented it or something, but you guys know I don't do that. So I was just like, I guess I'm not gonna watch it. The reason is because it has an 8.4 on IMDb with like 10,000 ratings. And I was like, holy shit, a horror movie with an 8.4 with that many ratings? And then when I got it, it was on, because it was just added to Prime like last night, and I pressed play like immediately. I saw that it was an Indian film. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense, because Indian films just get much higher ratings for some reason. I don't know why. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying they're terrible films or good. It doesn't matter. But Indian films really do get a huge boost of like tens. And so a lot of Indian films, when you go and look them up, they're like 7s and 8s and all sorts of things. So I wasn't too surprised, and I probably wouldn't have been in the biggest rush to get to this, because I would probably equate that to like a 5 or to something more realistic. Now, as far as the film goes, it's kind of like a, a fairy tale, but darker. It's an Indian folklore type tale. It's set over 3 different time periods. So you got chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And it starts in like 1918, and then it moves up like 15 years, and then 14 years, or it's 14 and 15. I don't remember which one it is. But it starts with this kid and his family. He's got a brother and his mom, and they're living in this house. And there's this like creature thing in the basement that they have to feed. And we find out that it's their grandmother, and she's attached to this thing. And we get this opening. It feels almost like a Mummy movie, like the 90s Mummy, where you get that story in the opening that's telling us the mythos of this creature, and how there was these millions of gods once upon a time, and they banished this one god from existence or whatever. And this kid finds out about it, and there's gold down there, and the mom tells him after the son is injured that he's never allowed to go back to this place, this and that. Then we jump ahead, and he, of course, does not listen to his mom, and when he's an adult, he goes back, and he keeps going down into this well where this creature lives, and he has to perform this little ritual with a circle of stuff, and he throws it, and he grabs coins of gold, and he climbs back up the rope before. It's a very dangerous thing that he does, and every time he goes down there, he risks his life, but he comes out with as much gold as he can grab in the moments that he has during this thing being distracted. And he goes out there, and he's living like kind of this lavish life. As far as the story goes, it is obviously not in English. It's pretty cool. There's some really dodgy CGI. All the creature effects, for the most part, are CGI with the creature that's down there. It's like CGI and practical together. It doesn't look too bad. The opening sequence CGI looks really bad, but it's like all CGI, so it's not like overly noticeable because it's not being blended with live action stuff. It's more of just like an animation opening. So it's not too bad, but it's not great. And then all the creatures in it. The grandmother creature that's in the opening is actually very freaky looking and disturbing in a way. There's a scene where they're like clipping her toenails, and her feet and everything are just haggard as fuck. The movie is very gross in that way. And it's kind of like a family drama at times as well, because it deals with generations growing up around this, and he's training his son to go with him in the future, and the drama that unfolds between them, and all of that. There's things that are set up in the narrative that I don't feel like are ever really fully explored, and don't really ever actually go anywhere. There's stuff with like this English dude who's pushing this other guy to follow him around and figure out what's going on and whatever, and I don't really feel like it amounts to much, and I felt like it should have. And in the end, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's a hard recommendation, though. I do think it's a cool folklore type film. So if you are into foreign flicks that deal with more unknown folklore, how realistic this story is to like Indian culture and whatnot, I don't know if this is an actual tale that they tell or not. I did not look into that, although I did try for a minute. I didn't find anything, so I'm not sure if it's just completely made up for the film or not, but it's an interesting story. There's something that the son suggests to the father in the movie, and he kind of comes back with a like, oh my god, I've never thought about that before response, and I'm like, really? That you've never thought of that? Like I would feel like that would be the first thing you would think of. But what happens because of that idea, I thought was great. And I was like, oh shit, that's messed up. So I did like the twist of what happened with the son's plan, but the fact that the dad never came up with that plan before is really odd to me and felt forced. I was like, really? That you're like 14-year-old son or something? Is this the first time that you've ever thought of it? Bullshit. But that's how I dug it. 8.4 I think is pretty damn high. Realistically, I would say in the 6s. But yeah, it's a cool flick. As I said, from all the things that I just said, if you're into foreign flicks, you're into more folklore stuff, I think it's worth a watch. It's on Prime, so throw it on if you're not into it like 10-15 minutes in. I probably can it, but it's a cool flick. I'd check it out. Neat little creature feature from India. So yeah, I give it a recommendation. For only those who said, because as I said, it's a hard recommendation. I would not recommend it to anybody by any means, but if you're into foreign folklore type flicks with interesting creatures and interesting story backgrounds, check it out. See if you like it. All right, guys.